Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening to the listening public, the wonderful people here on the island of Nevis, those in St. Kitts, those who are listening across the Caribbean Sea. Good evening to all of you, wherever you might be, those in Canada, in the United States of America, those who are in the United Kingdom. I know some stay up late to listen to On the Mark each Wednesday. I thank you and welcome to another edition of our show. It has been rather rainy here in St. Kitts and Nevis over the past few days, but we did get some respite today, and I'm happy to say that the weather is back to its usual best, and we are hopeful that we can get on with it and have beautiful days and beautiful nights. Tonight it's a beautiful night here, not too warm, not too cold, just right. And of course, for those of you who are even now being afflicted by winter, I urge you to book your flights and come home for Christmas. St. Kitts has Sugar Mass, and Nevis has, of course, all the tranquility that you need, all the beaches and all the venues, all the restaurants that you need for a beautiful Christmas holiday. So I invite you to come home, book that flight, and come home and be with us for Christmas. This is On the Mark. I'm your host, Mark Brantley, and if you're tuned in, it must mean that you're listening, viewing the Eastern Caribbean's only powerhouse, VON Radio, the voice of Nevis. And we are here each Wednesday from 8 to 10 with something that we feel is of interest to you. At the top of the show, I start by extending condolences to all those who might have lost a loved one since I was last here, those who might be in hospital or sick in some way, whether you're ailing in body or in spirit. I extend my thoughts to you and my wishes for speedy recovery. And for those, of course, who've lost a loved one, please accept my condolences. For those who are celebrating birthdays, celebrating an anniversary, celebrating graduation, whatever it is that you're doing, I extend congratulations to you. And let's hope and pray that we may continue to prosper here on the island of Nevis and in the wider Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. We have quite a bit of ground to cover, but I was sent something here, and I just wanted to indicate that the Cumbria Methodist Church is inviting one and all to the Advent Youth Musical. It will be on the 24th of November at 4:30 p.m. They're asking everyone to be seated by 4 p.m. and it will be at the Cumbria Methodist Chapel. They're asking for you to make a financial contribution towards the children learning to play instruments. And so that was sent to me, and I am saying it to you, and I expect a call sometime when the phones open. But I've also been asked to say to you that Agnola Productions presents Sleigh Bells and Symphony special presentation. Look at me sin and trouble. That looks like what I'm seeing here. Sunday, December 8th, 2024, Nevis Performing Arts Center, NEPAC, at 5 p.m. Adults, $30, children, $15, and you can contact 662-8577. Tickets are available at Trendy Feet, Divinity Touch, and Pemberton's in Charlestown. We hope to hear more from Agnola. We hope when the lines open, but I just wanted to say that at the top of the show so that, ladies and gentlemen, you know that there's quite a bit happening. I want to commend Agnola. I hope to be able to speak to her a bit later, but I want to commend her because she has been doing these various productions at NEPAC, and it goes back to what I said on a few occasions, that the Nevis Island Administration has invested significantly in the physical infrastructure to accommodate the arts, to accommodate the creative economy. It is now up to our people to step up and to use those facilities. We have NEPAC, which we have recently repaired and restored. We have, of course, the Nevis Cultural Village. We have the Culturama Complex, and we also have the MGR Park, all plug and play, all ready for you to have your shows, to have your artists come in, your concerts, to have your events. It is really a marvelous thing that on an island this size we have all of these venues when many of our neighbors have none, and we have all of these available to you. So again, to the creatives in St. Kitts and Nevis, Nevis is the place. We have the plug and play venues, and we invite you to come and use them. So kudos to Agnola and her team. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a lot going on. I want to first of all ask the Nevisian public to be patient with us. The government, I said to be patient with us because I've had a number of complaints from residents all across Nevis that water has come into their yards are swamped that, you know, there's been some flooding in areas, and I want to say that we are doing our best to remedy situations where we can, but there are times when we just have to say that nature will take its course. I live in Montpelier, and my yard was waterlogged because there was just so much rain that I think that it would be unrealistic to think that there will not be some flooding. The good thing about Nevis is that when we have flooding on the roads, and even sometimes flooding in various properties across the island, that it tends to run off quickly. That's the good thing. And so I just want to commiserate with those who were complaining and are complaining. I understand, but the complaints were so many that I received. I just want them to understand that during heavy torrential rains like we had, where it was clearly raining in the mountains for quite a while, because even when there was no rain on the lowlands, all the guts and ravines and drains were still running full tilt. And those who went into Charlestown, for example, saw Charlestown water was just gushing all over. So it happens. It's not often that it happens, but it happens. And I can't apologize for nature. That is not my doing, but I do apologize for us not being able to respond to every single call that might have gone out. And so I just wanted to say that publicly, because I know some people get a bit frustrated. But as I said, my yard was flooded out as well. I expect that at times like these you will get some element of flooding, simply because of the amount of water and the volume of water. What I find, however, is commendable, and I want to go on record tonight to commend our utility companies. We didn't lose electricity, we didn't lose water, unless of course it was scheduled. And so I want to commend Nevlec, I want to commend our water authority, that despite the deluge, despite the torrential rains, that the infrastructure was strong, it stood up, and I'm grateful for that. And as I say that tonight, you know, we come under some licks, get some licks sometimes, come under some harsh scrutiny and have some harsh commentary directed at us as government. That is perhaps to be expected in a robust and raucous democracy like ours. But sometimes I like to remind our people that the things that they get so agitated about, and they have provocateurs out there who seek to agitate our people about things, that, believe it or not, these things happen in other countries as well. I was just looking and realizing that in some parts of the United States, the largest, most powerful and richest country in the world, the United States of America, the largest, most powerful and richest country in the world, the United States of America, that there are parts of the United States, even as I speak now, have been without power for nearly 24 hours. I want that to sink in, because here sometimes the way our people respond to situations, it's as if it's unheard of to lose power because there's an emergency of some kind, or to lose water because there's a difficulty of some kind. And so when I heard that some parts of the United States, even as we speak, have been without power for nearly 24 hours, and I said, what? In the biggest, richest, most powerful country in the world? I just think our people sometimes need to step back, understand, and act sensibly as a result. That for me is what I would ask. I am not seeking to avoid criticism, because as I said, you live in a democracy, you expect that. That's par for the course. But sometimes, as I said, a level of agitation. I remember earlier this year we had some water woes in Nevis. We had some pump failures, we had some difficulties, and we had to be rationing water. And you could have sworn that Armageddon had come here in Nevis. The way that some people were carrying on and trying to build this into this huge crisis and catastrophe. Well, when last you hear anybody complain about water? Because you see, we try to fix the problem. That's what a government does. But problems will come from time to time. But what is ironic is that when all this hubbub was happening, a friend of mine from St. Kitts reached out to me. And the friend said to me, he said, Mark, I don't understand Nevis people, you know. Because it's every night in St. Kitts at 9 o'clock, the water goes off. Not just now, but for years. I don't know if that is still the case, because I know the new government had done some drilling for water in Keon. to alleviate the pressures on the water system in St. Kitts. But at that point in time, early this year, that's what my colleague called me and said to me. He said he doesn't understand, because he was comparing it, the temporary interruption in water in Nevis due to difficulties that we were working on fixing, and that we were quite vocal and upfront with the people about, and quite open about it. He was saying that they've had a situation where 9 o'clock every night for years. Then I got a call from a friend of mine. She lives in Bastille, and she actually sent me a video of a large number of containers, and she said when water comes she fills up because of how intermittent the supply can be. This is just next door in our sister island. And I say to our people sometimes, let's be grateful for what we have. We have in this little island here of Nevis a near perfect paradise. Some problems exist, to be sure, but when you look at our infrastructure, you look at our water, our electricity, our roads, our connectivity, you look at our infrastructure, the things that you look to in terms of a sustainable island state, this island of Nevis stands tall. And I want our people to start to be proud about that. You know why? I get passionate about it. Because there was a time when I was attacked vociferously. They said I wasted money. They want to know what I spend money on. Well, I spent money on developing Nevis. That is why we have no water woes now. That is why we have not been having electricity woes for many years. That is why our road infrastructure is so good. Our drainage is so good. We have invested in capital projects of significance to transform the landscape here in Nevis. That is why I have been investing, and my cabinet has supported those investments in tangible developmental projects that can move this island to the next level. And I don't want our people to lose sight of that, because I well recall that those who had far more money at their disposal than Nevis did never spent a penny in terms of the sustainable development. And if we look at St. Kitts, we look at, for example, the lopsided distribution of citizenship by investment money over the last decade and a half. We look at the accusations that came at Nevis. Oh, you all get 500 million. What you all do with it? But St. Kitts got 5 billion. What did they do with it? Look at the water situation. Look at the electricity situation. Look at the roads. Compare them. And I'm not saying compare them because I'm trying to denigrate, but I'm saying that when people talk sometimes, you have to evaluate what they're saying against the facts on the ground. So if I was wasting money in Nevis, as some in St. Kitts said, and of course parroted by their acolytes and parasites on the island of Nevis, those who are, what they say, when they spit whatever they spit out, there's some in Nevis grab it up like it's manna from heaven. And so I was accused. In fact, just as we celebrated the biggest and best Culturama we have ever had, homecoming, the island almost sunk with the number of people that were here. The opposition in Nevis put up all kind of stupid billboard. Back again to the old chestnut, how we waste $500 million. But look at it. Look at the development that you can see, touch, and feel in Nevis. Look at the fact that for 2 years during COVID, Nevis did not have an income. Hotels were closed, airports were closed. But we kept our public servants paid in full and on time. Not one person was sent home. You all think that happened by chance? You think that happened by chance? No, it happened because you had a government that was committed to the good governance of the island of Nevis, to managing the island of Nevis within the resource constraints that we have. And what have we done over the years with the monies that we've collected, your monies, taxpayer monies? We have invested in water storage capacity. We have invested in water distribution capacity. We have eliminated things like low pressure for water to most parts of this island. When a colleague, the Honorable Spencer Brand, told me recently that he attended a conference in Trinidad, and he was amazed to hear that in big countries like Trinidad and Jamaica, less than 50% of their people are connected to water. I want you all to reflect on that. Less than 50% of their people are connected to water. Here in Nevis, wherever you are in Nevis, you turn on your pipe and there's water. We should not take these things for granted because we're such a small island with such limited resources. But you have a government that has been investing in the things that perhaps aren't sexy. They're not going to grab any headlines perhaps, but they ensure that the lives of our people are better. These are the investments that ensure we can tick the boxes when we start to talk about sustainability, because you cannot have sustainability without water. You cannot have sustainability without an effective supply of power and energy. You can't have sustainability unless you have proper infrastructure. Look at our roads in Nevis. You know, I commented to someone the other day, I said the reason why Facebook and social media gets so excited when there's a pothole in Nevis is because the road's so good that the pothole stands out. If it was a situation where potholes were ordinary, potholes were commonplace, nobody would get excited over it. It would just be another pothole. But the reason why a pothole stands out in Nevis is because of the quality of our roads our people have grown accustomed to. And I say kudos to them, because we must like nice things. Kudos to them. But I want our people to appreciate that. So when I was being vilified and my government was being vilified from St. Kitts, and the echo chamber in Nevis was saying the same thing, we were investing in water, we were investing in electricity, we used some of that 500 million to buy generators at Nevlek. You know what is happening in St. Kitts now? The new government has been forced to rent generators. No investment in Skelec over the years. No investment in water over the years. This new government in St. Kitts, Dr. Drew, has just done a well in Keon. No investment. But they say I spend bad. Well, if I spend bad, but the people of Nevis are comfortable, then maybe we need more bad spending in the country. Because you had billions, $5 billion available to you. And you were more interested in giving away. Giving away. Every kind of program imaginable. Everybody had their hand out. It was what you call pork barrel politics. But not a penny was spent in terms of the things that we need to spend on to keep our country in good shape and to ensure that we are sustainable. No money was spent on electricity. No money was spent on water. And that is the reality. And so, we must try to figure out who spent bad. Because this reminds me of the biblical account. They say when, the master gave out talents, and some got the talents and they went and invested it and whatever, and if they got 5, they brought back 10. Others got the talent, and what they do? They hide it. And the master had to discipline them. So you had over $5 billion available to St. Kitts. And where the money gone? What has happened to it? Well, it brings me to a huge debate that has erupted in the country. Because MSR Media, led by one Philip Martinez, has made various allegations over the past year and a half, 2 years. He has filed a RICO lawsuit in the United States. He has filed action in St. Kitts. And he's in the media very often, including most recently he did a podcast in which he attacked Prime Minister Drew. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I have said that I am not going to get into all of that. I believe that those who have Coco, a son, must know what to do if they know rain a come. That's what our people here said. A lot of knowledge in our elderly people. They have wisdom. They say if you got Coco, a son, look out, rain a come. Well, I know I don't have any cocoa in any sun. I drink coffee, not cocoa. I have no cocoa in the sun, so I don't have to worry myself. And I know that I can speak for my cabinet colleagues that none of them have cocoa in sun. But I believe it's important that I say this about the whole MSR saga. I realize that there are some in the media, on social media, and certainly some in the political arena who are seeking to blame me, Mark Brantley, and Nevis for the current predicament and pickle and kerfuffle that MSR Media has created in St. Kitts. I say St. Kitts because as far as I have seen, nobody in Nevis has been sued or nobody in Nevis has yet been involved in all of this kerfuffle. No. I think history is important. I hear the question being asked repeatedly. Who bring MSR Media to the country? Who bring them here? Well, I, Mark Anthony Graham Brantley, the only son of Vicky and the fifth son of Irvin, I'm here to say to the world, I brought MSR Media to the country. I'm not going to resile from that. I brought them to here. In the middle of COVID, we saw an opportunity to start a movie industry, a film industry, and we partnered with MSR. MSR came in, rented Hamilton Beach Hotel or whatever they're called, kept that hotel open during COVID. We, the government, agreed that we would pay for their accommodation expenses, and so every month we cut a check to Hamilton. Kept that property open during COVID. Kept people working during COVID. And they had a simple framework. They had their crew stationed here, and then they brought in movie stars and changed them for different films. By my tally, MSR would have done something like 9 films. In Nevis, I think they did one that was focused on St. Kitts, but they did about 9 in their period here with us. 1 year off the island, White Noise, I think, or Black Noise, something like that. They did a number of films. Some of them showcased Nevis beautifully. The investment for me was made to start an industry, create some employment during the dark days of COVID when everything was shut down, and to get exposure for the island of Nevis. I recall a friend calling me from Atlanta and saying to me that their relatives were on a flight, and one of the movies available on the flight was a movie shot here in Nevis. We got exposure from these films. And the public has heard all kinds of things. I will say, because I've said before, the deal that we had with Mr. Martinez was that we will pay $150,000 US per film. And let me just be precise, we will pay up to, I want to say that, because not every time we paid $150,000. We would pay up to $150,000 US per film. But the way we paid that money was not to MSR. We paid that money to the various hotels for the accommodation of crew and stars as they came in. Crew and talent as they call it. So we paid Hamilton, We paid Four Seasons. We paid private villas if they stayed in private villas. And in that way, we kept that money circulating right here in Nevis. You want to know what we've done? I'm telling you what we've done. Because as the leader of Nevis, I have always sought to be open with our people. I hear all kind of outlandish, foolish claims. How we paid millions of dollars a month. And when Nevis going to get millions of dollars a month from in the heart of COVID? Everywhere shut down, airport closed. Where was that money to come from? Sometimes when these chatterboxes are just talking because they have the benefit of a tongue in their head. The danger, ladies and gentlemen, is some have a tongue, but they don't have the brain to inform what the tongue says. And so the tongue just talks because it is there for that purpose. But my point is simple. We paid 150,000 US dollars up to 150,000 US dollars per film, but we spent it locally. We took care of local accommodation expenses. That was the deal that we made. And so films were being made here. People were employed here. I believe that at the time I was told that the lowest wage that was being earned was somewhere around 500 or 600 US dollars per week. You had fellas driving, you had fellas doing lighting, you had some of our makeup artists doing makeup, you had people like Vaughn Anslin, who was like an art director, you had Tishan Wilkin, who started to learn how to direct. You had all of these people employed in what was the start for us of a film industry. We created something out of nothing during COVID. Now, COVID started in 2020, and then it carried over into 2021. I was in a government, the Team Unity government, during that period of time. And I'm sitting down in Bastia every week for cabinet sessions on a Monday. And I am hobnobbing and engaging with my colleagues because so much was going on that I was unaware of. And then a little birdie picked me one day and said to me, Mark, you know that people from the federal government been coming over here and having secret meetings with the MSR? I said, secret meetings? Well, in my view, why do the meetings need to be secret? If you want to meet with MSR, I could have set up that meeting. I had a good relationship with Mr. Martinez. But they were coming over. I need not at this point call names, but if it comes to it, I will, because I have the facts. And they met over lunch and over dinner in what they, I assume, thought were secret places. And I learnt that while I'm sitting in a cabinet with whom I thought were my colleagues, that there were some in the same cabinet, including the head of the cabinet, who were actively engaged in trying to get MSR to move out of Nevis and to move to St. Kitts. I spoke to Mr. Martinez and I said, well, what's happening? And he said, well, the guys in St. Kitts made him an offer that was too good to be true. And he loved Nevis, but he's a businessman. And I said to him, I respect that. And so, MSR moved their whole kit and caboodle, pack up the cat, the dog, and moved to St. Kitts. And one of the big reasons, one of the big things that St. Kitts offered, one of the big things that Timothy Harris as Prime Minister offered, was CBI. Now I want the public to understand that Nevis has zero control over CBI. The NIA has no control over CBI. We can't approve any CBI project. That can only be done in Bastia. And so, they sweeten the pot. Not because, and let me make it pellucid this evening, not because they had any interest in any movie industry in St. Kitts, you know. But they wanted to take it out from Nevis. They wanted to take it away from Nevis. Because Nevis was doing well with the movies. People were employed. And every minute you're hearing some press, some buzz about Nevis. In the heart of COVID, they had a problem with that. Because remember, their whole narrative was Mark is a bad leader and Mark can't do nothing right. And so we started this movie thing. And they decided, colluded and conspired to take it away from Nevis. So they came over, they had all their meetings, all of the engagements. And in the end, they offered CBI, they offered Kittish Hill, they offered La Valley, they offered OTI, and they offered all of this to MSR, just so MSR would leave Nevis and move to St. Kitts. Well, I can't blame MSR. People want me to get vexed with Mr. Martinez. Well, I can't get vexed with him. He's a businessman. And if the grass seems greener in Bastia, because those in charge over there tell you, man, come, they spray up the grass with some green paint and they say, look how green the grass is over here. Well, the gentleman went, pack up and move to St. Kitts. And then guess what happened? The falling out now started. Gentleman claims he found out about this underselling that was happening, and he therefore decided that he would take action, and all of this now has spun out of control because it is all over about corruption and who get money and who ain't get money and who what and who this and who committing fraud, and all kinds of names are being called by MSR. But you know one name that is not being called? Mark Brantley. You know one government that is not being implicated in any wrongdoing? The NIA. And I want to put that on record tonight. I want to put it on record because you see, when you can say, as I can say, that before God and man, my hands are clean. You sleep good at night, so you don't have anything to worry about. You know, I was at the barber shop and we were discussing this very same thing. And somebody said, you know, sometimes a fella has his girlfriend. They're getting along just fine. Another man comes along and he woos the girlfriend away from the fella. He offered the girlfriend the sun, moon, and stars. He said, baby, whatever he's giving you, I'm going to give you more. I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to love you like he can't love you. I'm going to be everything. I'm going to be a knight in shining armor. And the woman says, well, the grass greener over there, so. And she tells the poor fellow, bye-bye, I'm gone. Well, if a man steals your woman from you, and he now has the woman, and when he walking away with her, he turn back and he laugh at you, you know. Because I remember when MSR moved to St. Kitts, oh man, the opposition in Nevis, all of them laughed at me. How foolish I am that I bring these people here. Look at that, they gone St. Kitts, ha ha ha. But God don't wear pajamas, you know. God don't wear pajamas, he don't need them because he don't sleep. So a man steal your woman from you and laugh at you as he walking away with the woman. Then a week or two later, you hear him start to complain, say the woman can't cook, she can't wash, he didn't know so hard, she snore. He didn't realize this and he didn't realize that, and he vexed now. Well, he bite you, he take away your woman from you. Well, if you were living good with your woman and you don't had no problems with your woman and a man thief the woman from you, well, that is his business now. Let him handle that. I am sure people understand what I'm saying. If you thief a man, woman, and the woman turn out to be a bad woman, that is your problem. Because nobody sent you. It's fast. Timothy Harris was fast. Fast and bad and hate Nevis. That is why they did everything in their power to pull MSR out of Nevis. MSR was in Nevis, no CBI, making movies under the deal that Nevis had with them. And I told you all what the deal was. But they did everything. Promised everything. MSR now end up in Sinkits. And when the promises were not realized, you see, all hell has now broken loose. And to try and deflect attention, they keep saying, is Mark, bring them to Nevis. Is Mark, bring them. Is that fella Mark who bring them? Well, yes, I bring them. But if I bring them and you thief them, and when you thief them, things turn bad. Well, what you cuss me for? What you cussing me for? I have nothing to do with what happened in Sinkits. I was not involved in any CBI arrangements for MSR. I was not involved with Kittishan Hill, with La Valley, with OTI. It had nothing to do with me. It had nothing to do with my government. I was involved with MSR in making movies in Nevis. And MSR, to their credit, delivered what they said they would deliver. And I, to my credit, delivered what I said I would deliver. What happens after they left Nevis and moved to Sinkits, that is not my problem, because just like the fella have every right to say, I never tell you to come interfere in my relationship. Me never tell you come try and bite me. Me never tell you back raise me and take away my woman from me. So if now you find out that there's a problem, that is your problem to deal with. What you want to drag me into it? Why? Because you see, if Team Unity was operating the way that it promised that it would operate, and they realized that Mark had something good happening in Nevis in terms of making movies, they should have supported it. They should have said, boy, Mark, you're onto something there. Let's see how we can support you in Nevis. But no. They said to MSR, you have to leave Nevis and you must move to Sinkits. All that you see we're offering you, you have to have your headquarters. And that is why they went and set up something called MSR SKN Limited. They don't want me to start to talk, you know, because I have the information. They set up something called MSR SKN Limited in Sinkits because that was a precondition. They had to move to Sinkits. My own colleagues that I'm sitting down in cabinet with, discussing issues and having lunch with and speaking to, that is what they did. Go behind, back raise me, back raise Nevis, all because they thought that Nevis was onto something good and they did not want it to happen in Nevis. Well, no, that the thing turned out the way it turned out. What y'all call Nevis name for? What you calling Mark Brantley name for? What you calling the NIA name for? What? You all say I brought a bad man to Nevis. I don't know anything about whether the man was good or bad. The man came to make movies and that's what he did. That's why I bring him. I don't know why people took him to Sinkits. But I know I brought him to Nevis to make movies and that he delivered on making movies in Nevis. They're there for everybody to see them. That was the deal that I had. So when they come and they connived and they conspired and they had their secret meeting and they had their lunch and they had their dinner and they offer the sun, moon and stars on one condition, that the people must leave Nevis and relocate to Sinkits. Well, now the thing happened. Why you all vexed with me and want to drag me in? Why you vexed with me and want to drag me in? before God and man. You see these two hands here? Clean. Because Vicky raised me right. Vicky raised me right, and my father always tell me, now watch what people have because you don't know how they get it. Don't watch what people have, you don't know how they get it. That is how most of us here in Nevis would have been raised. We all know those sayings because our grandparents drilled it into our heads. Our great aunts and great uncle. Our wise elders. Now watch what people have. And sometimes you see a man going along his road. You don't know the details and the circumstances. You jump in. And then when you find out, you start to ball out. Well, I'm not the person to ball out to. So I'm just asking everybody, yeah? Leave me out of the confusion. Because I had nothing to do with money, nothing to do with CBI, nothing to do with approvals in relation to MSR, nothing to do with any underselling. I don't sell projects. I'm the Premier Nevis. I have nothing to do with any of that. I brought them here to make movies. And that they did. And they employed scores of people right here on this island, which some of them will call in tonight if they're out there and they're listening. We had a good thing going in Nevis. But greed, grudge, bad mind make some in St. Kitts get in the pickle that they are in now. Greed, grudge, and bad mind. Nevis must not have anything. Nevis must not have anything. So the fact that Mark Brantley in Nevis, out of the depths, the bowels of COVID, tried to create something with this movie industry, they must take that away from us. You all remember way back in 1996, I think it was? Nevis had an offshore industry, financial services industry, that he had worked on developing since 1984. The late great national hero, right excellent, right honorable Sir Simeon Daniel started it. The late great Vance Winkworth Amory expanded it, because when Sir Simeon started, we only had one product, the International Business Company, and we only had one provider, Morningstar Holdings. 10 years later, when that monopoly ended, that 10-year monopoly in 1994, Vance Amory opened it up to new players, introduced trusts, LLCs, banking, insurance, mutual funds, and on and on. This year we're going to celebrate 40 years of financial services. Why do I mention that? I mention it because in 1996, I believe, an effort was made in Bastia to take away the financial services industry from Nevis. Legislation was proposed in the National Assembly that would require every company incorporated on the island of Nevis to re-register in Bastia. I'm not making this up. In fact, it was one of the principal reasons that caused Vance Amory at the time to invoke the secession clause. Because Vance said, you all are not going to take this away. This is like a man labor to build a home. And you are just walking now the house bill, and say, give me the keys. I'm going to take it away. Stood up. And right thinking Nivision stood up with him. So I am saying it is nothing new. But the difference is that in 1996, Vance was not in the government in St. Kitts. In 2021 and 2020, I was sitting in the government in St. Kitts, sitting down with people who I thought were colleagues, and not understanding that the same people that I sat with on a Monday, had lunch with, chatted and laughed and reasoned with, when night came, they were taking water taxi or maybe even jet ski. and coming to Nevis and meeting in secret places to do what? Take away from Nevis the movie business. If you listen to Martinez's podcast, he made it plain. He said they tell him he have to come to St. Kitts. That's what I told him. He has to come to St. Kitts. Well, why now you all calling up my name and trying to involve me in your kerfuffle? Me not got no cocoa, son. I don't have any cocoa in the sun. So all who have cocoa are the ones who should be concerned. And I say that with no water in my mouth, because I'm tired of people trying to deflect, people trying to blame. I am prepared to stand up anywhere in the world, put my hand on the Bible, and say, I solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, because I have nothing to hide. And the mere fact that you keep saying, oh, you bring them here, I bring them here, doesn't account for the skullduggery that some would have engaged in relation to all that we've now heard, all the revelations. And so maybe you say, you can now understand. Because when the public was being hyped up and said, Mark Brantley get 500 million, what he do with the money? He wasting money. What happened to the money? And Nevis people up here take their eye off the ball, watching 500 million instead of 5.5 billion. But when your eyes taken off the ball, you know what happened? That 5.5 billion going all across the world, going in various places. I don't know where, nobody asks me nothing. Let them go and explain to the court, them in America and wherever else they're being sued. But I just end with this one note, that you must ask yourself how it is that the man who is being blamed for bringing MSR to the country has not been sued anywhere, and there are no allegations that have been made of any wrongdoing on his part. Ask yourself that question. Ladies and gentlemen, I had asked somebody to call at 8:45. It is now nearly 8:50. And so I'll end my soliloquy there and open the lines. 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. For those who might be listening and want to call in, I believe that Agnola indicated she would have called to talk about her production. And if she is minded to, she can call now. The phones are ringing. Let's see. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, my dear. How are you?
I am giving God thanks.
Yes.
John 15, verse 14 and 15. You are my friends if you do what I command. I am no longer call you servant, because a servant does not know his master's business. Instead, I have called you friends, for everything that I learned from my Father I have made known to you. May God continue to bless all of us. Have a good evening.
Thank you, my friend, and thank you for that beautiful scripture. I do appreciate you, and I hope you have a wonderful evening as well. It is 10 minutes to the hour of 9 o'clock, and we're taking your calls. 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. Those are the numbers to call if you'd like to be a part of the show. I actually cut my soliloquy shorter than I intended because I wanted to accommodate Agnola, who said she would call in. So if you're out there, Agnola, and you want to call, this is your time. If it gets later, you may not be able to get in, but you did say you wanted to call and talk about your show. So let's go to the phones again. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good evening, Mr. Brantley. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
That's good. This is Agnola.
Great. We're calling your name, so you're here now. Tell us about your production.
Well, I am extremely excited about this production that we're going to have on the 8th of December called Sleigh Bells and Symphony. And in there is a drama which I wrote, I think it was 2018, that I originally did during COVID, but it was done as an online presentation. But now it's going to be live on stage. It is a play that is for St. Kitts Nevis or the Caribbean, because it's based on what used to happen during the 70s going into the 80s. It's extremely exciting. We can hardly get to the rehearsal. We are laughing so much. So I know that the public is going to be very much entertained. I call them an all-star cast. We have Michael Henville, who was in the original play. We have Nurse Lorraine Archibald, who was in the original play. We have Principal Serena Brown, who was in the original play. Also Nicola Paris, who was in the original play. And we have added some more characters like Patrick Howell. Some of the kids from Identity Expo are in there. It's going to be a whole production. We have singing, we have the Christmas story. It's going to be exciting. I have found that there is a lot of talent in Nevis. It's just there to be explored. And I want to do my part in taking advantage of all the talent that I find here. I have an excellent group of people that come alongside me and help me. Sound, lighting, music, whenever I call, thank God they are ready and available to come. And there's a lot of material that I have that's in the pot that's going to be coming out. So I am asking for your help, of course, or your support, which you have always given me, because I'm going to be very busy showcasing this beautiful place that we live in called Nevis.
Well, Agnola, yes, go ahead, please. Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
I am asking the public to come out. Don't stay home and let anyone tell you about it. Come out and enjoy it. We're going to have lots of surprises because, like I said, there's talent here. And in order for you to, don't let somebody say, oh, I see it, and it was good or bad or whatever it is. You come out and see for yourself, because when you come out, then you're able to tell other people, okay, I went to this production, this was great, we have a great thing going here in Nevis, because this is what I do, it's in my blood, I can't run away from it, and it's very exciting for me. So every time I do a production, I get so, it's almost like you're giving birth to a child, because you're birthing something new, but it's so exciting when you're doing it. And I've had tremendous support from the general public so far, and I'm looking forward to a packed theater. I'm looking forward for us giving the best show that we possibly can, and the rehearsals that we're doing, I can almost I guarantee that you really are going to laugh until you cry.
So this is a comedy?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And just give us the date again, please.
The date is Sunday, December 8th at 5:30 at Nevis Performing Arts Theatre, NEPAC. The tickets are $30 for adults, $15 for children. You can DM me to get tickets, or you can go and purchase them at Trendy Feet, Men's Designer Store, Divinity Touch, or Pemberton's on Main Street in South.
And what's the number they can call, please?
662-8577.
Okay. Agnola, I want to thank you. And I want to thank you for what you're doing, but also to celebrate you, because you have come back home and you have not stayed still. You have been engaged. I think you told me that you did some of this in the United States, where you lived for many years. And you've come back and you've engaged. And why I wanted you to call in tonight is not just to promote this production, but also to say to our people that we have invested in these venues and they're there for their use. And whether it's a play, whether it's a concert, whatever it is, you have an opportunity now to, as I like to say, plug and play. And so I'm very happy that you're using NEPAC. It is purpose built and designed for the very thing that you're doing. I'm happy that you are unearthing local talent, because I think that sometimes our people may not see the big picture or the overall picture. But when I talk about the movie industry, the film industry, you know that, of course, performances on stage and performances on camera are similar in some respects. And many of the great actors and actresses have also appeared on stage, whether on Broadway or on West End or wherever it is, right? So the truth is that it's all part and parcel of the overall creative industry that we're trying to promote here on the island. And so I want to applaud you, I want to thank you, and I want to encourage people to support artists and entrepreneurs and creatives like you, because it is only through our support that we'll see the arts flourish on the island of Nevis.
That is true.
So thank you very much, and thanks for your call. You're a woman of your word, because you told me you'd call and you've called.
Okay.
So I hope the public turns out in their numbers. Before you go, Agnola, just tell us again, it is December 8th, you said?
Sunday, December 8th,
Yes?
5 p.m. at NEPAC. Tickets are $30 adults, $15 children. You can DM me at 662-8577, or you can get your tickets at Divinity Touch, Trendy Feet, or Pemberton's on Main Street in Charlestown.
Thank you very much. God bless you, and God bless and prosper your efforts.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Great.
Okay, bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are cooking with gas here on the Mark. We're calling for your calls. We're calling for your calls. Okay, we're asking for your calls. 869-469-1616. 869-469-1700. Let's go back to the telephones. Good evening, you're on the Mark.
Good evening from me, Brantley. Mackie Trusty, how are you?
Good evening, my brother. Good to hear you. Good to hear you. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good.
All right, man.
Tonight I just want to let the general public know that due to the torrential rainfalls that we had for the past couple of days, the event that A1 Farms was planning, the A1 Farms Farmers Market and Coconut Festival, that was slated for Friday the 22nd and Saturday the 23rd November. Unfortunately, we have to postpone that to the 7th of December, which is Saturday. So instead of 2 days now, because of the time constraint, we would have to put it to the Saturday just for 1 day only. So basically what we're having is farmers market, so you can get all your produce. And the farmers market is to just create a different avenue, another avenue for farmers to come out and sell their produce. As you would know, I'm into the farming and has been into the farming commercial now for about 13 years. And so I'm trying to find different avenues for not only myself, but other farmers to showcase and sell their produce. Now, the Coconut Festival is something that we at A1 have been toying with for some time. This dates back before COVID. And because of COVID, we had to put it on the back burner.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is that the coconut is one of the things here in Nevis that is and was in abundance for a long time. We had the little yellowing disease a couple of years ago, and that kind of thinned out the crop. You remember down at the Pinnis Beach, that was a real sight to behold. And I've taken responsibility to hatch as many coconut slips as possible. I mean, I could tell you right now I've got over 2,000. And I'm encouraging people just to plant coconut trees, because I realize that Nevis now, instead of exporting coconut, is importing coconut because of its various usage. Now, the jelly water is a big deal, and we would have jelly water in abundance, local jelly water. All of this stuff made from coconuts, Johnny cakes, even pina colada, dumplings, baked goods from coconut, coconut oil, anything coconut, and everything coconut we will have. So I regret to say that we have to push it back, because we really don't think we have enough time, just 1 day left between now and Friday, to get that the Villa grounds organized. So the team has decided to put it back to the 7th of December, same venue, the CSS Villa Grounds, and we will get started this Saturday morning from 9 o'clock. About 6 o'clock in the evening, we would have the smallest band coming from St. Kitts to provide some extra entertainment during the day. We will have the string bands and the clowns if available, and we're putting on a domino competition as well. So it's a whole family affair. So I'm just encouraging everybody to save that date and come on out and support the A1 Farmers Market and Coconut Festival.
So give us the date again, Mackie.
December 7th.
December 7th. At the Villa Grounds.
At the Villa Grounds, and we begin at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
And we go right up until 11 o'clock in the evening.
Okay, and you're going to have all things coconut?
All things coconut. We might even have a jelly water drinking competition as well.
All right. You also going to have other produce on sale?
Yeah, other farmers would be there. A1 Farms definitely would be there with produce. So it's Saturday. We bring back the traditional Saturday market.
Right.
So that you could come and get your local produce, lettuce from A1 Farms, cucumbers from A1 Farms. Anything produce you should be able to get there as well.
Now, let me ask you something which is near and dear to my heart. You mentioned about the lethal yellowing, which would have destroyed our coconut palms here on Nevis. We have been fighting back over the years, planting. At Indian Castle, for example, we would have planted, the government would have planted just about 5,000 palms. Are you comfortable that we're at a point now where we can supply the demand in Nevis locally?
No, not at all. And that's why I mentioned I was on a hatching spree for the last 3 years. I've sold a lot in Nevis, in St. Kitts and further afield. And I think I have maybe about 2,500 on hand ready to be planted out as well.
2,500?
Right.
Okay.
So we're not there yet.
Okay. All right. Well, I would want to encourage people, because I'll tell you, I have been on a push of my own to say that a lot of times when we have our homes and we're doing landscaping, people love the flowers and all that, and nothing is wrong with that. But I keep saying to plant some fruit trees, or in the case of coconut palms as well, because you can get food from them. At my yard there in Montpellier, the soil up there isn't the best. But I have, I think, about 5 or so of those dwarf trees. And I'm amazed at the amount of water you get, jelly water you get, coconut water you get from that handful of trees.
Yeah, so, because I will tell you, when you're talking about the dwarf coconut trees, especially the green Malayan, that averages, once it gets proper water, that averages about 36 jellies per bunch. And to put it in context, those one bunch usually would give you 2 gallons of water.
Wow.
And one of those 16-ounce bottle is retailing now in Nevis at $10. And one of those gallon bottle would give you 10 of those 16 ounces.
Wow. So yeah, so $100 right there.
One lakh of jelly could net you $200.
$200.
Yep.
Okay. So there's actually commercial value to it as well.
Oh, big time.
Okay, good.
Big time.
All right, Mackie, thanks a million. I appreciate you, and I appreciate all that you're doing, as well as the other farmers. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
All right, you're most welcome. 5 minutes past the hour of 9 o'clock, we're taking your calls. 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. 2 excellent calls thus far in terms of what's happening on the island. One dealing with the creative economy, and Mackie from A1 Farms dealing with this coconut fair that he's having, all things coconut, plus of course the farmers market. It will be on December 7th, he said. He's going to have small axe band and entertainment there for people. So I'm asking people to go out and to support. It is important for us to eat what we grow and grow what we eat. It's important for us to grow food. And even in your yard, you can plant some trees, plant some coconut palms. In my yard, I have coconut, I have avocado, I have mango, I have soursop, I have what they call them again, I think they say Pump City. I don't know why I'm remembering that. The golden apple, that's what I'm looking for. I have limes. What else I have there? Sugar apple. So they may not bear all at the same time, but when they're bearing, you have something to eat. And I believe that that's important. So for all of those, especially young people out there who are building a home, building a first home, when you're planting up, plant some flowers, yes, to make your place pretty, but plant some food as well. Plant some trees that in time you could go and pick your mango, you can pick your plant, your sugar apple, you can pick your coconuts. I also have bananas, and I have fig. What they call it? Fig tree. There's a fruit called fig. I have that as well. So you know, and especially you think like bananas. Right now I have 3 bunches of bananas in my yard. 3. I only have a small family, but I have 3 bunches. It means I will have bananas that I could share with people. So I think that it's helpful that we plant food. You may not be a commercial farmer, but you can contribute to our food security just by planting something in your yard. So I encourage our people to do that, and I thank Mackie for all that he and the other farmers are doing. He was the pioneer here on the island as a local chap doing the hydroponics. He did a lot of work there. I remember my good friend Mr. Williams, Lloyd Williams, would have done a lot of work there as well. Danny Atherton would have done a lot of work there. But Mackie really took it to the next level. And he has expanded A1 Farms to a point now where I think he should be proud, and we're all proud of him. Let's go back to the phones and take some more calls. Good evening, you're on the mark.
You know, the with Mackie was still with A1 Farm. You say you had too much things. Me got 2 now, you want?
What you say, how?
Right. You say you got a lot of things, so you could go with A1
No,
Farm.
I got things.
Me got a lot too, so me could go.
What you have?
Everything you call it. Seasoned pepper, okra, papaya, soursop. I got about 4 bunch of banana out there.
Really? Wow.
Oh, me got fig. Me got the same thing you talk about. The fig. Oh.
Yeah, and they're quite sweet, huh?
What?
They're quite sweet. The fig is quite good.
Yeah, I have.
Okay, all right, wonderful. I'm happy to hear that, and I'm encouraging other people to do the same. Thanks for calling and letting us know. We're very grateful for that. Food security is everybody's business, believe me. And during COVID, let me tell you, as a cabinet in Nevis, we were panicked because we said, if those boats stopped coming from the port of Miami, what would happen to us? And so we decided that we wanted to incentivize and encourage more farming. Is somebody else holding? Let's go back to the phones. No, I'm sorry, caller. Please call back in. 869-469-1616 and 1700. Those are the numbers to call if you want to be a part of the show this evening. It's 10 minutes past the hour of 9 o'clock. Let me make sure. Looking at the clock on the wall. Yes, 10 minutes past the hour of 9 o'clock, and we're taking your calls. And this is, of course, On the Mark. I'm your host, Mark Brantley, Premier of Nevis, but hosting the show now for 2 decades. I'm happy to be here. I have, in a very real way, grown up with you on this show. You knew me when all my hair was black. Now a lot of it is gray. But I'm grateful that I'm still here, of sound mind, and being able to articulate and be truthful. Be truthful when I engage with the people of Nevis and the wider federation. So, when I ended my soliloquy, I was talking about this MSR saga. And I did say I would not belabor the point, and I'm not trying to get in to all the legal fandangle that is happening. Accusations and counter-accusations are being made. That will be for the parties to resolve. The parties who are involved would best know how to respond to any allegations made. I have noted, and I believe it is worthy of noting, that no allegations have been made against any member of my government. None. And no member of my government has been sued by anyone. Now, I don't know if that might change. I don't know what reason there could be for that to change. But I believe it speaks volumes that this case has been going on with all the headlines and with all the allegations and counter-allegations, who thief and who not thief, who corrupt and who not corrupt, that not one person has mentioned Mark Brantley, not one person has mentioned Eric Evelyn, Spencer Brand. Nobody has mentioned Janelle Nisbet, Troy Libert, and who was there before, Alexis Jeffers and Hazel Brandy Williams. Nobody has mentioned any of them because we're not involved in that. And I think that point there, I want to keep ramming it home. I want to keep ramming it home because even some of the mischief makers here in Nevis, oh, it's Mark Brantley, bring the man here. Mark, bring him here. Well, if I bring him here, who tell Timothy go trouble him? If I bring him here, who tell Timothy go trouble him? You see, sometimes I say you see people going along with the things, leave people alone. But grudge, bad mind, and greed, and you end up in a situation now where you're getting on every platform to say, is Mark bring the man and the man is a bad man. Well, you didn't know the man is a bad man when you send all kind of agents and you come yourself to have meeting with the man and tell the man, just tell us what you want. Whatever you want, just tell us what you want because we want you out of Nevis. Imagine that. One country, St. Kitts and Nevis. But the feeling in Bastia was that Nevis had something good going with the movies. We want them out of Nevis. And so you offered the sun, moon, and stars. You offered CBI. You offered OTI. You offered Kiddishan Hill. You offered Lavalley. And when poor Nevis get back raised, we lose. We accepted it. The gentleman said to me, I am moving to St. Kitts. And I said, well, boss, if that's what you're doing, you're a businessman, go ahead. I'm not vexed with you. You delivered to us what we said we would deliver. You employed some people during COVID. We kept hotels like Hamilton open during COVID. People who worked there, housekeepers, people in the laundry, the management, they were able to get an income because of this government's approach to the partnership, saying that we will pay for the accommodation. People at Four Seasons got a little something out of this government's approach that we will pay for the accommodation. And at the end of it all, the gentleman said to me, and I give him credit, he never misrepresented anything to me, Mr. Martinez. As much as everybody is cussing him now, I have never found him to misrepresent anything to me. He said to me, the offer in St. Kitts was sweet, and he going to St. Kitts. And I said to him, God bless you. Thank you for what you have done. Thank you for keeping people employed in Nevis over COVID. But if sugar down there and you say you're going for sugar, you're going Sugar City to get some of the sugar, well, go ahead. But if now the sugar turn out to be salt, well, how me get involved? How me get involved? Vicky poor son born on a Henley Part and grew up in Brownhill. Why involve me in? Huh? Leave me out of it. I don't have nothing to do with it, you know. I don't have anything to do with it, so leave me out. Stop trying to implicate me, because the problem is that you all scheme and conspire to bring the man to St. Kitts. Look at the man gone. And I remember the foolish and happy here in Nevis was laughing. I'm pretty sure if I search through social media and thing, I will find where they were posting all kind of thing. Let Mark take that. Stupid. Imagine he bring people here. Timothy, take them away. Oh yes. They had much to say. But I tell Aya Gardner wear pajamas. No tailor out there could tell you they ever make a pair of pajamas for God. God don't sleep. And so when now things go bad, well, why are you calling me for? Me don't get bite. I don't get bite. And they say a horn is only a horn if you take it on. Me not take it on. So me don't get bite, me get horn, me get boot. Whatever you want call it. Me get it. Nevis get it. And I say, such is life. Nevis has moved on. But now I thief and go along with the people. Or you deal with that. And stop trying to drag Nevis into it, because Nevis have nothing to do with it. Nevis have nothing to do with CBI. Nevis has nothing to do with underselling. Nevis has nothing to do with who was thieving money and who was getting money on the table and escrow account and all kind of thing I'm hearing. Nevis had nothing to do with that. Nevis not involved. No cocoa in the sun here in Nevis. And I want to make that point and continue to make that point, because I think the people of Nevis should be proud that they have a government which is an honest, decent government. They should feel proud. And I've often said, you know, people measure governance, how much road you build and how much hospital you build and how much school you build. But governance should also be measured in terms of whether or not you can run a clean ship, whether you can run a tight ship, because all the allegations about politicians are corrupt and politicians bad and they're worthless, I can say before God and man, my hands are clean. And I've said to my colleagues in the cabinet, I don't get ourselves involved in no skullduggery and no badness. Let us keep the CCM government clean. And that is why I don't have anything to fear. I am not concerned about the allegations that are swirling against other people, because I know that in Nevis we conduct ourselves a particular way. And I'm proud of it. Very proud of it. And I think the people of Nevis should be proud. When you hear them trying to involve me and Nevis, ask them simply for me. Well, if I say Mark, bring them here. Well, how come the man no sue Mark? How come the man no got nothing bad to say about Mark? How come the man no say Mark thief and corrupt? How come the man no find a bank account nowhere that belong to Mark? Ask those questions. And I want Nevisians to be proud, because as a government, we're not involved in no bubble with nobody. We're not involved in no thieving and no corruption. We are clean as a whistle. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good evening, Brother Brantley.
Yes, brother, you're on the air.
Yeah, how you do?
Why, I'm here. What's up?
I'm okay, thank God. Brother Brantley, I called because, I want to commend my good cousin there, Agnola Hen Jackson, from Hickman's. Not many people who live Nevis and go to places like the United States and establish themselves in whatever it is and could make a lot of money there, but would choose to return home and bring that product to their own people.
Yes, indeed.
And, I find that, that is very good of Agnola. I know Agnola from since she was almost a baby. And I am so proud of her. And I just want to encourage the general public to go out and support us, support your own. I find in these small islands, people forget that is, as you support anything, it becomes better and better. How you think other people in other places become great? They have to get the support of the general public. And so I just want to encourage the general public to go out and give us support. Also, my good friend there, Mackie Charles, these are people that I know well. Mackie Charles is a guy that I know who could choose to do several different things. And he has made a choice that he is going to do some agriculture. Because I guess he understands that that is one of the best ways that he can help his people. Because Brantley, sure that you are what you eat. It's what you eat you are. Also, I want to make a point here that a lot of people don't really consider sometimes. And it is that the food that is grown here, our bodies is more adapted to it. If you notice, in different countries, you have different animals and so on. And God would put a particular food there that those animals like. And the soil would grow that particular food.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's the same thing here. We were born here. And the soil here is more adapted to our bodies. So that when you grow an orange here, it's better for us than the orange that come from somewhere else. Well, I mean, in general, everybody know that, because even when I was growing up and you eat an orange, I mean, everybody know that you was eating orange. Nowadays, you eat something called an orange and it's like water. But apart from that, I am saying that the food that grow where you were born, your body is more adapted to it. And this is a point I want to explain to people. I'm no scientist, but I know these things. And then, the final thing I want to say, which I have said several times, when people make mischief and tell lies on anybody at all, you have a right to defend your good name and say, well, that is not true. But for me, I do not believe you have to labor the point too much, because sometimes, as you say it more and more, oh, the man they say, oh, me thief something. Some of the people who hear you say it don't really know the truth and pretend and act like, oh, well, but they go and leave their saying. I wonder if it's true. So for me, when people say something about me that is not true, I may defend myself for a while, but after a while, I just leave it alone, because truth and error will pan out themselves. Good night.
All right. Well, thank you, my brother, and thank you for that. I particularly like your comments about the food that we eat, because a lot of us are eating imported food. We have turned away from our local produce and go to the supermarkets and pick up the imported produce. We don't know what's in it. We don't know what chemicals they would have sprayed it with to keep it looking fresh, or keep it fresh beyond its normal shelf life. We don't know what hormones is in some of the meats and things that we eat. We don't know what pesticides and chemicals might have been used on some of the fruits and vegetables. And you know, there are some who have argued that the high incidences that we see now of various forms of cancer and the various illnesses that were not common in times gone by, that they may well be attributable to the low quality food that we are consuming. So we know when we eat local, we're eating good quality food. Yam, potato, veggies, fruits that are grown locally. When you eat a mango here, the mango come off the tree, not a chemical has touched it. And I believe that our people, for their health, they say what? Let your food be your medicine and your medicine be your food. It is appropriate that we eat healthy and we eat local. Support our local farmers. Let's go back to the phones. Caller, please call back in. 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. Please be patient with us. We definitely want your call. So call back in. It is 25 past the hour and we're going, of course, to 10 o'clock. But caller, I wanted to just agree with you wholeheartedly, because what we eat and the quality of what we eat has everything to do with the quality of life and the health that we have. And people who eat properly, you know, we point to the fact that a lot of our people who really grew up in hard times, you know, difficult times, but they lived to 100 and something. Some of these ladies had 15 children and lived to 100. We'll get back to that. Let's go to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Hello, good evening, Mr. Mark. How things?
Things aren't bad at all. How are you?
I'm okay, man.
Yes.
Last week we speak, and we speak on matters concerning extrajudicial killing, and we also speak on matters concerning jury duties. But when you when you speak on extrajudicial killing or killing like that, it has troubled me from those days until now, no, because as in since recently we see 2 police officers charged for murder, 3 guys last week in East Kingston, Jamaica. And here is among other stuff what they are charged for. And it's so difficult to see the citizen's life has been gone in a way which we could have reside in any way possible. Just like what you normally said, well, we not train our guys to shoot to kill. They might injure. If we were having some of these type of things in Jamaica, it would have been a better country. You understand?
Yeah, I'm listening, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah. And within the jury duty in St. James Parish Court, as of last week, I remember on a 14-year-old case, the case with a gentleman, Moradine, in terms of a gun theft. He was taken into custody at the Barnett Street lockup in St. James, Montego Bay. And a couple hours after he was taken into custody, he was wanted to grant bail because it was $100 for squiff at that time. So he was, somebody was come to bail him, but in terms of that, he might say that he didn't like the police officer. So they say, alright then, they can come back for him within another 2 hours, but by another 2 to 3 hours, he was in the Cornwall Regional Hospital. And that case has not been resolved over 10 years now, from 2014 until now. 10 years now. But these are the things where the system has to face, which is unbalanced. Because when we talk about balanced approach to justice and equality, these are some of the system or the system encounter within citizens. Just have to encounter with things which is inadequate and too fragmented. Those are the things where people or citizens end up complaining.
Well,
Mr. Mark,
go ahead, caller.
I will catch you back in a little while because we step outside, but the service are go and come.
All right. Well, thank you for the call, and I like the issues that you raise because they're topical, they're regional, they're important issues, and to give us the experience in Jamaica is important. I will say that sometimes, caller, the state of the society dictates the response, or maybe it's a chicken and egg conundrum. People say, well, which comes first? But we do know that in Jamaica you have, in some parts of Jamaica, I don't want to generalize because I don't think it is all across Jamaica, but in some parts of Jamaica you have violence of a particular kind, and as a result of the violence being as you know, I suppose at the height that it can get to in some communities in Jamaica, I could imagine the police may well argue that they respond with force, because when they go out, go look for gunman shooting at them too. So they may well argue that, listen, we respond with appropriate force. And you know, caller, I lived in Jamaica. You know, in Jamaica you have what they call bad man police. You have some policeman, whether it's Leng, Bigger Ford, you have Trinity. You know, you have these police officers who have had a reputation. I mean, all dancehall artists sing about them, and they have this reputation of, you know, I mean, Renato Adams, all of these people, and they almost become folk heroes in Jamaica, because Jamaican society and in Jamaica itself, some feel that the way to deal with these criminals is to eradicate them, and if the police go out and do it, people not losing any sleep over it. So I think it's a societal thing. And it's a deep issue. It's your culture, it's society, it's how the communities are structured, it's how the level of violence sometimes in some communities, and the response of the authorities to that violence. You know, when people feel that they are besieged by criminals, they want police to be tough, and toughness now tends to be that they go in and do certain things. And so I think we have to view these in the proper context. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello? Call, are you there? Okay, caller, we're not hearing you. Perhaps you can call back. I think somebody's on the other line. Let's try that other line. Caller, good evening. You're on the mark.
Hello?
Hello, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Good night, sir.
Good night.
Let me ask you for one question first. Where the national food import bill?
I don't have the figures, caller, but I know it is. It runs.
A rough estimate.
Well, it's hard to say because I think I saw something which said for chicken alone, it's over $10 million. So
10 million.
yeah. So
You see, that's why we missed the ball. You know, where there is no vision, the people perish. If we are taking the $30 million that will give it to them gangsters to keep out of trouble, we could have organized and tackle a food import bill. Serious. By taking them, you see why we do that, arrange them, take every gangster into supervision for 10 years. Give them, we supervise them and train them to grow food, train them in construction. When we first thing we start training them about changing the violent ways, you use them every day. Then you allot piece of land, or acre of land. You grow an acre of herbs, you grow an acre of cabbage. You dissect the island tree. One from Keys to West Farm, then West Farm over to St. Paul down to Cairn, going on to Cairn. And you in each area you plant every 4 months. You can have a steady supply of food going around. What these youths need is a secure environment to work with. If you have officers, he's carrying them out to work. They're building reservoir, building and constructing the farm so that they could produce the food, the cabbage, the broccoli, the oranges, the limes, the bananas, them. These things that we could designate to the youth and in time to come, they will be contributing to the national budget. Because after 2 years or so, you could left them on their own and let the business become their own and their family, and they could be producing and selling to the hotels and even exporting. And the one thing I think that we waste in time in with is the food of pain, the bread food. In Guadeloupe, every week you go buy bread made from breadfruit flour. We need to get some youth down here, learn how the technique in making breadfruit into flour, and get them back to saying just collect as much breadfruit as possible and start an industry with them. It's a viable industry. Stop eating this white flour business, that thing. One thing that I realized that with Dominica economy and the COVID, Dominica economy contracted less in the whole Caribbean during COVID because Dominica was eating their own food. We have not started any program seriously in supplying food constantly to our food because global trade must go on. I know the dictatorship of this global north. We could plant no. We just giving out them Tabasco, the Tabasco place down there in young ground. It's efficient to go all the cabbage that we need for a year, all the iced potato we need for a year, and all the onions we need for a year. Like we could be tackling that. We are not investing in the youth them. We prefer to import food. The 30 million could have gone into tractors, gone into cranes, gone into so much different machineries that could empower you them to be millionaires in the future. Poverty is one of the drivers of crime. When they got the money, man will come in and say, let me get $100, go and kill you. Let me get $1,000, go and kill you. If you have the money, go say, get from here. We can resist that. But leaving the youth in poverty. I mean, it don't mind $30 million gone, what we have to show for it? Nothing. I mean, Timothy Harris should be brought before some tribunal to answer for that. I don't subscribe to the kind of behavior that we spend money on the youth and we have nothing to show. We should have something to show. We could designate our acre land go around the island to each man, with each man getting a quarter, half, and the family working together, and it's producing, and they're staying out of trouble with security from the security forces. And there's a secure environment we did need to work in. I would never encourage them to go to the program without a secure environment. And the secure environment is needed to collect all of them and teach them, and then we carry them out to work together. Right? That's the thing that we could attack the national food. Some are sleeping on the hand. They didn't give Tabasco, the prime farming land was thinking. Sleeping on the hand. The land should be gone to the youth them, to designate them.
So Carla, what do you have against the planting of the peppers for Tabasco?
Monocropping is what have is slavery. It's not feeding
But why you saying it's a monocrop? If they use one area to plant, they're not preventing people from planting other things elsewhere. Think it's a big space.
We should be investing in feeding themselves more than feeding than planting from Tabasco. The money should be the land should be gone into feeding ourselves.
But so caller, okay, caller.
Yeah.
Just listen. I'd like to have a conversation with you. So if they grow peppers to sell to Tabasco, and money is generated from that, we're exporting peppers to Tabasco.
Where the profit go to?
Well, it comes into the country. What do you mean where the profit goes to?
The profit go to the owner of Tabasco when the end product, just the cocoa.
Yeah, but caller, let's say, caller.
Yeah.
If you're selling a product, you're selling a product. So if each point along the production line, somebody's going to add on their profit. You can't vex with Tabasco because Tabasco make profit. You got to ask the question: are we making a profit on the production of peppers to supply Tabasco? If the answer to that is yes, I'm asking you what is wrong with it.
Just I can tell you what is wrong with it. Just say cocoa. Cocoa is the farmers them make $50 billion out of it from farming. When it goes to Europe and it becomes a byproduct, it makes $150 billion. Farmers are not getting the fair share out of the production, and that's going to be the same thing down in Newton Ground. You don't get a little thing yet. What fair share you're going to get out of the profit where you're going to gain from the production?
But how do you determine what the fair share is?
When it starts to produce. And so now we know that Tabasco ain't going to be going into the business to lose. But if the farmer is producing peppers, the farmer knows how much labor, how much water, how much effort they put into the peppers, and the farmer is making a profit. Why should the farmer be concerned that Tabasco is marking up their product 100%? I'm just curious in terms of the thinking, because I hear the criticism being made, and I'm saying to myself, but if we could export something, and we could by so doing make money for the country, what is wrong with it? It doesn't prevent us from growing banana, growing peppers. The land could be better used by feeding ourselves, and that we're not doing right now. We're not growing sufficient food to feed ourselves. This is prime land. This is one of the best area land we could rain-fed land in the whole of the Federation. And I don't like that. That the prime land could be given back out to foreigners. I don't like that.
Well, caller, let's be precise. Because you say giving back out to foreigners. Is it the farm is foreign owned?
Yes. But who won't be gaining the profit of it? Just like sugar. The sugar lands was for England all the time to benefit. England charged most of the money. England foreigners. But it's the same thing, come back again. The man from Antigua is right there. The pirates coming against Natty Jr. Pirates coming again, and they're coming to take all what we got. Watch out, people.
Alright. Okay, caller.
That money could be, them things could be invested locally.
Right.
The local people do all of that. We could make byproducts too. We make hot sauce.
Well, I understand all that, but I'm saying, but we're also, but caller, we're also capable of walking and chewing gum. You seem to be thinking that it's one or the other. Why can't we both? Why we can't grow peppers for Tabasco and grow peppers for our local pepper producers as well, and grow yam and grow potato and grow everything else? We have the capacity. So why are you saying that the fact that we decided that we have a ready market with Tabasco, we're going to sell them peppers, that's necessarily a bad thing?
Because we were tired of domination. Capitalist domination is not good for all small countries.
Okay, my brother, we'll have to leave it there and give somebody else a chance. Thanks for your call.
Give thanks.
All right,
give thanks.
we're taking your calls. Let's go back to the phone. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good night, Mr. Brantley.
Good evening, how are you?
I'm all right enough. And you?
I'm well, thank you.
Okay. Listen, I have a problem with the water.
Yes.
Where the water is being set up. The stop cock or whatever cock they call it. If that bus, if the pipe bus, you can't turn it off. It's hard. Ladies, maybe if you have a man living in the house and the man is not home, you can't turn off up to when water department reach by you. You know how much water down there? So me want to know if you can get that fixed a little better. It can't turn.
Oh.
They even put a piece of wire in it. It can't turn.
Whose stopcock it is? Is yours or a water department?
That me water department, when they run the pipe, they put it there. When they run the pipe, they put it there. But I mean, if the pipe bust, as donkey don't go to bust the pipe and them. And the pipe bust, you can't get it off. Can't.
Okay.
My niece just come from England and it open the pipe in the bathroom, the tap come off. So, be rich or you can't get it back on. Wait on all the house. It go outside now to turn off the tap. Can't get it move. And I say, no, it can't happen to me. It can't come off. You need easy access. Because some water, we can't afford to lose all the water there.
That is true. We can't afford to lose the water at
No,
all.
so see if you can get them fix a better easy access to ladies to get that thing they turn off. You make a brassy thing like.
All right. Well,
Everybody-
okay.
yes,
Well, I hear you. I'm not sure what's
Yes,
possible,
I
but
beg you please, if you
certainly.
can get that to work one for me.
All right. Okay. Well,
all right.
thanks for letting us know. I've never heard that complaint before. So.
Yep. Yeah, all right.
Okay. Thank you very much. We continue to take your calls. 869-469-1616 and 1700. Let's go straight back to the phones. Good evening. You're on the mark.
Good evening, Mr. Premier. How are you
Good
doing,
evening.
sir?
Good evening. Well, good to hear you. How are you doing?
It's good to hear you as well.
Yes.
Tomorrow, the 21st of November, is World Fisheries Day, and I want to take this opportunity to salute our hard-working fishermen who really are into a very treacherous and dangerous trade. They go to the sea very often to get protein for us, and of course it's very, very dangerous out there. Sometimes we hear, sometimes fishermen go out and they're lost at sea, they don't come back, but we have some dedicated fishers here in St. Kitts and Nevis who brave the waters very often to go out and catch fish. Of course, we have been talking about eating local and eating healthy, and we know a lot of persons are now into a lot of seafood and fish in particular. And so I want to salute our fishermen to wish them a happy World Fisheries Day tomorrow, and just to encourage them to continue. I know a lot of the time sometimes people complain that, the fish is a little expensive, but of course we know that they're into a very risky business, going out and say when they have to leave their family on a daily basis. Sometimes the fishermen go out there, sometimes when they go way out to do the deep sea fishing, they're out there for days, and sometimes people get worried. So I just want to salute our fishermen in the Federation and to tell you that we appreciate all of the work that you're doing. We appreciate what you do in terms of making a living. We appreciate what you do in terms of bringing food on our table. In terms of what we are doing for World Fisheries Day tomorrow, we're going to be at the Fisheries Complex. We're going to be giving out some vouchers, and then we're going to visit some of our retired fishermen as we did last year. And then on Friday, the Fisheries Complex in Charlestown, they have a little fish fry there, right there at the Fisheries Complex. I know people like fry fish, so you can go on down and get your fry fish. They're going to be there from about after 11. They're going to have fry fish. I think they're going to have fried conch. They're going to have other dishes from conch and so on. So go on out and support the Nevis Fisheries Complex on Friday. The fish is going to be available until the supply is exhausted. I know the fry fish normally goes very, very fast. So if you're interested in fry fish on Friday, go on down to the complex early. I think they're going to be there from about 11:30, and always very, very tasty. The other thing I just wanted to mention, Honorable Premier, I want to say hello and thank you to the wonderful, wonderful people of Statia. I was fortunate to be there on the weekend, just for one day, on Saturday. The Honeybee String Band was invited down to Statia to play for Statia Day. Statia Day was this past Saturday, and we had an engagement in the evening. And I have to say thanks to the wonderful folks down there. Well, thanks especially to Miss Vashti Hooker, who invited the band down to play. And I have to tell you, Honorable Premier, I mean, when I'm in Statia, it reminds me of the growing up days on the island of Nevis. The people in Statia are so friendly, so hospitable. Wherever you go, everybody says hello to you. What strikes me most is how safe Statia is. Hardly any crimes. People are leaving their doors open, not locking their doors at night. I mean, some of the folks who went down, they didn't even lock their apartment when they were going out in the evening to play. And I really want to salute the wonderful people of Statia. I mean, they welcomed us nicely. They treated us very well, and they are nice, wonderful, hospitable people. I was able to, while I was there, I was able also to make a presentation. There's the oldest person on Statia is from Brickhill on Nevis.
Oh, wow.
Yes, Miss Busby and Miss Mary Busby. And she, on Statia Day, they were, I think she got the highest award for Statia. They were also naming a road in her honor. And thankfully, I got there on time on Saturday morning to be at that ceremony. I was able to make a brief presentation. I took down a bouquet of flowers to present to Miss Busby, presented it to her. She was there. She not mobile. She was lying there. They brought her to the ceremony, but I was able to take a photo with her and present the bouquet to her daughter. They were very, very appreciative of it, and so I made that presentation on behalf. When I spoke, I got the opportunity to speak. I spoke on behalf of all of us on the island of Nevis to congratulate her on this milestone, the oldest person on Statia from Brickhill in Nevis. And I was so delighted that the government of Statia saw it fit to do this for her. She have made Statia her home, and they would have done this for her. But as I said, I really want to salute the good folks down there for the great hospitality, and I just want to encourage you all to keep Statia the way it is. As I said, what struck me the most is how safe it was. I could recall one of the band members was asking somebody in Statia if there's only one police officer, because since he was down there, he only saw one police officer. But, that was a light moment. But, as I said, I just wanted to salute them.
And how old is Miss Busby?
Pardon me?
How old is she?
105.
Wow. And how long has she lived there, do you know?
I am not sure how long she has been living there, but apparently she has been living there for quite some time. I spoke to the daughter. I had a good chat with one of the granddaughters as well. She informed me that she and the rest of the family, they used to come to Nevis pretty often. So apparently when Miss Busby moved there, she used to go back and forth all the time, And so they're very proud that they are from Nevis as well, and they were very happy that I was able to make it there, coincidentally, to make the presentation, And so kudos once again to the good folk of Statia. Thank you so much for their hospitality. I'm sure they enjoy the sounds of the Honeybee String Band. As a matter of fact, the Defense Force Band from St. Kitts was there as well. Apparently, the Defense Force Band goes down every year for Statia Day. And it's just that we were so fortunate to be invited for 2024. And of course, when I was there as well, I had a chat with a commissioner from SABA and a couple of the folks from his government. And they were a little bit jealous because they said they heard that persons from Statia come to our agriculture exhibition every year. And they are telling me that they want an invitation because they want to be here next year as well. And so, I mean, it was good all around. At least you're able to make some contacts as well. SABA persons want to have a relationship with Nevis as well, just as Statia is having a relationship with us.
Well, Eric, thank you for that real update. I was watching all the photos and the enjoyment.
Yes.
I realized that they really enjoyed the string band.
Yes.
Honeybees there in Statia. What was the trip like in terms of the boat ride going there?
Well, I was pleasantly surprised because we left Nevis on the MV Waterman, Captain Prince, and on Saturday morning at 8 o'clock, and it took an hour and 23 minutes, and it was a smooth enough ride. I was pleasantly surprised because I always hear about Statia Channel, and so I expected some bump. But it was a nice boat ride down, and coming back up as well on Sunday, it was a good boat ride coming back up on Sunday. So,
okay.
I mean, nobody had any bad feeling or anything like that.
Fantastic.
Neither going nor coming. So it was really, the weather was excellent. The weather was excellent. When we got there on Saturday, some rain was threatening a bit. There was a little bit of rain at the event on Saturday night, but that didn't deter anybody. We had a wonderful turnout at the event on Saturday night. And I had to tell you as well, Mr. Premier, quite a number of your folks from Brownhill asked me to say hello to you.
Oh, yes.
Because for whatever reason, I met quite a few folks there from Nevis. And for whatever reason, almost all who I met there are from Brownhill.
We're Statia full of Brownhill people, of course. Yeah, man. Stacia is
Almost
full
all
of, well,
I met there
Stacia
were
is
from
full of
Brownhill.
people from St. Kitts Nevis.
Mm-hmm.
But there are a lot of people there from Brownhill. Just like if you go to St. John's in the Virgin Islands, a lot of Brownhillians are there as well.
Yes.
You know, people settle. But it's not uncommon that where a family member goes, you then follow them, you know.
Right.
But happy that you had a good time, and I join you in sending greetings to our brothers and sisters in Stacia as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you very much.
All
10
right, bye-bye.
minutes to the hour of 10 o'clock. We're taking your calls. 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. Please call in and be a part of our show. We still have time to take your call. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening. You're on the mark.
Good night, Honorable Brantley.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm reading Psalm 67. It's 7 verses. I will just read the whole thing. God be merciful unto us and bless us, and cause his face to shine upon us, Selah, that thy way may be known upon earth, thy saving health among all nations. Let the people praise thee, O God. Let all the people praise thee. O let the nations be glad and sing for joy. For thou shalt judge the people righteously, and govern the nations upon earth. Selah. Let the people praise thee, O God. Let all the people praise thee. Then shall the earth yield their increase, and God, even our own God, shall bless us. Let me just get the other verse here.
Hello?
God shall
Yes.
bless us,
Mhm.
and all the ends of the earth shall fear him. Here ended the reading of the scripture, and I enjoy your program tonight, man.
Well,
it was very good.
Thank you
Yeah, I
so
love
much.
it. Yes.
And thank you
Have
for...
a good night, and God bless you.
Thank you, and thank you for your scripture. I do appreciate it very much. I must emphasize that these are scriptures that you choose, and you choose to call in and to lend your time and your voice to the show. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Yeah, good evening,
Yes, brother.
in response to the lady that called about the water, right?
Yes.
The shut-off valve that they have there, I don't know much that they can do, because you don't want to put something that can easily move, or the same animal will move it as well. I have noticed it myself that it's a little hard to move, but what I can advise is that you keep a pair of pliers at your home, because it is the fact in truth that sometimes your hand is not moving it easily, especially for a female. So I would advise that person to keep a pair of pliers at home and move it with that. But if you put something that is going to move much more easily, then the animals will come and move it as well. So I suppose that is one of the reasons why they have something like that.
Okay, well, that's a good suggestion to have a pair of pliers available.
Yeah, then.
All right, thank you very much. Caller, if you're listening, we've heard one suggestion, and the pliers does make it a bit easier for you to maneuver. So that is indeed a good suggestion, that you have a pair of pliers available. It is just about 6 minutes to the hour of 10. We can still take a few calls. So if you are out there and you want to be a part of the show, you can certainly ring in 869-469-1616 or 1700. Just to advise that I will have my monthly press conference tomorrow, and so you can tune in there as well for information on the various ministries and what's happening on the island of Nevis. Let's go to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good evening, Mr. Brantley.
Good evening to you.
I'd like to speak to you up when you're finished, please.
You have my number that you can call me?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So when the show finished, give me about 2 minutes and call me, okay?
Okay.
All right, God bless. All right, we have still 5 minutes, and we're taking your calls. 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. So as I was saying, we have, of course, the press conference, the monthly press conference. It happens tomorrow. So we invite members of the media to come. I feel very proud that it's a date that I have kept. It's a commitment that I made and a commitment that I've kept, that we will engage on a monthly basis with members of the press, and we have done that religiously, and I'm grateful. This press conference tomorrow will be our final press conference for the year, because of course in December we move into budget debates here in Nevis and on St. Kitts as well, and so we look forward very much to members of the press coming tomorrow and asking their questions and getting clarification on any of the issues. I just wanted to say that there's quite a bit that's happening on the island in the area of water. Minister Brand would have reported that the 2 wells that have been dug thus far at Maddens both have yielded water. We are now going through the testing phases, and of course we go through an analysis phase of the water itself, the water quality, to ensure that it is potable and that it meets WHO standards. So we are ensuring that we have more water into the system, and that's why we are spending money to ensure that our people have what they need to make them comfortable. Water, electricity, roads. You know, my government has been criticized. They say, oh, you're all only building road, you're all on this. It's an investment in infrastructure. And if done right, that infrastructure lasts 15, 20 years. So it's an investment that's forward-looking. And I want our people to be proud of what it is we are doing on the island of Nevis. I had a meeting just today with our taxi operators. We are having a series of refresher courses for taxi operators in Nevis to make sure that they're in tip-top shape and in the best of form for the tourism season. And one taxi operator said that all of their guests are commenting on how beautiful, how clean, how excellent our roads are, how great the park at Pinneys looks, how great the Bath Stream looks, and that their guests are loving Nevis. And that's what we want to hear. I keep saying that we do what we do for our benefit. And if people who visit enjoy it as well, that's a bonus. So this is an investment in us. And I want our people to appreciate what we are seeking to do, what we are seeking to achieve, that this is an investment in us. And that's why I say ignore the noise. Because everything you try to do here in Nevis, there are some who start to make noise. You remember that they went over and protested at the airport? You remember that? Well, who would not want the airport to be developed? Which of us would not want to be able to get on a flight at Van Samre and get off in Miami? Which of us? But yet the protest comes. You're having a town hall meeting because we've been very open and transparent about the airport. And people stand up asking the most foolish of questions. Most foolish of questions. The consultants are there. The consultants say, for example, that the EIA is 100 pages long. You can't expect in a public consultation you're going to go through 100 pages on the screen. So they gave the highlights. But they said the EIA is available at the public library in Charlestown, so anybody could go and read the 100 pages if they so desire. But you're still hearing a lot of noise. Oh, I don't have enough detail, I don't have enough information. And people are opposing just for the sake of opposing. That airport is going to benefit Nevis for the next 30, 40, 50 years. The improvements that were done over there were done over 20 years ago. It's now time for us to improve it further. And that's what this government has been doing. I want our people to be clear that what we're doing for you. We're doing for our island. We're developing this island of Nevis. The banner struck up, it means I have to go. I want to thank all who called, all who participated online, all who were part of the show this evening. I think we had a good show. If you didn't listen to it in its entirety, it's rebroadcast tomorrow at Von Radio at 1 p.m. Join me tomorrow for my press conference, which starts at 10 a.m. And that too will be broadcast right here on Von Radio. That's our show. Thank you, good night, and God bless you.
The views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Nevis Broadcasting Company Limited or its advertisers. With all